Right, let's all play. Hi guys, no scale this week. So what we're going to do is I'm going to explain the CAGED chord system, and that is how I've been building all of my scales. Hopefully the small amount of light reflecting here won't annoy you too much, but I've struggled to get better. That's probably a little bit better. I just confused that. Anyway, Paul, stop mumbling. Let's crack on. The CAGED chord system is a way in which we use chords to find our way across the fretboard. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the chords that we use, which you'll probably all know, or most of you will know. And then I'm going to show you how we play them in a multitude of positions. And then I'm going to show you how the scales fit over them, because we've done the major pentatonic. And that's the first one we're going to do, is we're going to do it in the major key. So we're going to do it in the key of G to start with. I know we did it in E for the things, but you know, what's life without whimsy? So basically, the CAGED chord system is called such because those are the chords we use. We use a C chord. Let's roll some volume up, Paul. A, G, E, and D. Okay? So we're going to use those chord shapes. Now, the way that the guitar actually works and the way that it works where your root notes are, it's actually going to be CAGED. Okay, so it's actually going to be E, D, C, A, and G. So that means when we're playing in those positions, position 1, for example, in terms of a scale, is related to the E-shaped chord. Okay, so that would be here in G. Okay, let's roll the volume up a little more. And then if I play the first position major pentatonic, that's it. So it's picking out all of those notes are all in the scale, basically. So that's the first position, that's the chord, that's how we find first position, and the chord is basically there. Root notes, super important. I've got the finger out. This is our root notes. This is a G note. It is 3rd fret E string. Okay, we are going to be traveling around the guitar using these root notes. Okay, that's how we can find the next chord shape and the next scale shape. Okay, so there's our E shape. A lot of you will know that if you've played bar chords. That's your G. That's your root note. So if I'm playing the G major scale, I start from there. Obviously that's the pentatonic, just simply because I haven't gone through the full major scale. I will do that, but I haven't got around to it yet because I want to do the pentatonics first. I want to explain this next. Okay, so the next shape is the D shape, okay? So the way that we find where to play that is, that's our root note G. What we need to do is we need to go down 2 strings and across 2 frets, okay? So down 2 strings from the E string is the D string, and across 2 frets from 3 is 5. So 5th fret D string is also a G note. Again, a lot of you will know that if you tune your guitar. They should be the same, but my G is slightly out of tune, but hopefully you'll forgive me. So that's my root note. So if I'm playing 2nd position of the major pentatonic scale, that's where I'm going to start from, okay? And the next route along will help us find where the chord is. Because what you do on the next one is you go down 2 strings and you're going to go across 3 frets because of the way your guitar is tuned. Okay, so from down 2 strings from the D string is the B string, and across 3 is to the 8th fret. That is a G note. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use that to find our D chord. So I'm playing a D there. Hopefully you can see that. See if I can zoom in a little bit without it getting too crazy. Sometimes it gets a bit crazy. So you can hopefully see I've got a D chord there. That's a G chord, okay? So that's my D chord. So I've got my E chord down, E-shaped chord here. There's my E, just barring behind it. There's my D. So that's how I found it. I've got the root to the root to the root. So I start position 2 scale from there, and the chord is there. Now you can stretch back and use that and play it like this as well. You could do it like that. Some people prefer it like that. And all I'm doing there is I'm playing a D with those 3 fingers, and I'm just holding down the G note there for the root, okay? But normally when you actually physically play the chord, you'll play it like this, okay? And that's just because often you'll have a bass player playing the root note for you, okay? So you can just play that high bit and it sounds super cool. Okay, so that's second position. So it's CAGED, so it's E, D. So what's the next one? Well, it's going to be C. So this is our root note, and we can find the C chord by, we need to go now from the B string, we go up to the A string and we go across 2 frets. So up to the A string and then across 2 frets is going to be 10th fret on the A string, okay? That is also a G note, and that is how we're going to find our C chord. So it's going to basically be a C shape like that, but we need to bar behind it, so we're going to play it like this. Okay, so I'm playing a C chord there with those 3 fingers, so that's B string 8, that's D string 9, and that's A string 10, and then I'm just barring on the 7th fret, so I get a C sound, okay? That is my 3rd chord along, and that's also where my position 3 major pentatonic scale is. That's my root note. Okay, so that's basically position 3 C shape. So we've got E, D, catch. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm using these root notes to find the next position, find where the chord is, but it's also finding where the scale shape is. Now the next position is the A shape. I always play it with 1 finger because I've got weirdly bendy fingers. Okay, so I can do that. You know, most people can't. So there you go. A lot of people will play it with 3 fingers like this, but I really struggle with that. There you go. That sounds okay actually. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm playing an A shape with those 3 fingers, and then I'm just barring 2 frets behind it. That's my chord. So that's the A shape chord. As I say, I'll normally play it like this. And that's actually going to be 10 on the A, which is our root note, 12, 12, 12, 10. Okay, and that's where the scale shape would start there as well. And a few of you are going, well, isn't there another G note there? Well, there is. 12th fret G string is a G note, because that's how guitars work, if you didn't know. So again, you can find the next root note by going across down 2 strings, across 2 frets. If only I could talk, I'd win all the time. And that's a G note there. Okay? But we normally do the scale actually from here. Okay, and then that's the A, and then the final one would actually be the G shape, which if I do it as a bar chord, I'd probably just do that. Oh, I'll move a bit. I'd probably just do like that. I wouldn't bother trying to get that extra top bit on and then stretch behind, because it doesn't sound great. And obviously on a G, you can do it down here, because that's how G works. But that is actually the shape I would use, would probably be like that. You could also do that. That works as well. If you did it like that, though, you'd probably want to stretch up and get that 3rd and get that kind of a chord, which also works as well. And then that's where our scale is going to be. We can do it on that E string, we can start on that E string. We could even start on the G string if we really wanted. I would usually start up here. And that's the G shape, okay? And again, from this G note, basically what you do is you go across 3 frets, and then you do either E string, because they're the same note, obviously, because they're both E strings, and that's how you find your final root, okay? So, in essence, the CAGED chord system is using chords and scales to get around the guitar comfortably, basically. But I'm using my root notes to find where to play those chords and scales. So it's a double whammy with the CAGED system, I think, to learn everything. You have to learn the chords, and to be able to play the chord shapes, you have to be able to learn the scales as well, but you also need to, before you can really transpose the key, learn where all the root notes are. Okay, so for example, if I did it on A, that's an A, so I can do my first chord there. I can then use the same formula as we used before to find the next chord. I can then use the same formula to find the next chord, and then the next chord, and then the next chord. Okay, and I can do that in any key, and what I'm doing is I'm just using my roots. Okay, so that's what the CAGED chord system is. Hopefully I haven't gone through it too quickly, because it's only about 10 minutes. And just put a comment if you want me to go through it again, or if there's more if there's something you don't understand, you want me to explain a little bit more, because sometimes yeah, sometimes it's just different how people pick things up. For me, when someone taught me this, it was like all of a sudden it's like that makes so much sense. But I've taught it a lot of times, and some people get it straight away. Some people take a couple of weeks and then it clicks. So just, you know, let me know if there's anything else you want to know about it. But as a concept, it's a way of being able to play in any area of the guitar in the key that we want, and to be able to play a chord in any position that we want. You know, so it doesn't matter what. You know, if you want to play, you know, if you're here, you could play every chord that you wanted to play. So if you wanted to play an E chord here, you could play an E chord. If you wanted to play a B flat, you could play a B flat. You could play a B flat in 2 different ways. That's kind of what it's useful for. And you could also do the same thing with scales. Okay, I wanted to play like a E major pentatonic. I could do it there, and I could do the same. I want to play a B flat major pentatonic, you know, and I could play it there. Or I could play in 5th position of the major pentatonic, and I could do a B flat down here. That's what it's used for, but what you really have to get to be able to you have to learn the chords, learn the scales, and then learn 3, not 2, Paul, 3, you have to learn how to find your root notes, okay? So hopefully I didn't go through it too quickly, but the idea is you take your root note on the E string, okay? Now you need to be able to do at least that first, basically, and I will go through in another video the basics of how to find the root notes along strings, basically, not the root note, just find notes along the string. So I really want to do that at some point, just a really quick video. And then you use the kind of, you just have to remember that you skip down 2 strings and you go across 2 frets and you find the root note. And then it's down 2 across 3 to the B string. So you should be at the B string then. Then you go up to the A string but across 2 frets. So from 8 to 10 up to the A string. Then you're going to go down 2 across 2 again, which would be 10 to 12, and then you go across 3, 1, 2, 3, and either of the E strings are then the same note. So you can hear that's a G and a G, and that's a G and a G and a G. And as I said, you can do that in any key. Again, if you want to do that in A, okay, we know this is A. That's A. I keep saying A. I meant E, because that was the example I used before, consistency. That's an E, so I can work out that that's an E, because I know that that's how the formula works, and that's an E, and then that's an E. I'd go back the other way. I can work out that's an E, it's 2nd fret D string, which you can probably just about see in the corner there is an E. Do the same thing with B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. And that's basically how I'm working my way around. It's the same formula that I'm just using to find all of my root notes. And then because I've learnt the chords and I've learnt the scales, I can then play in any position I want to, okay? That is what we're trying to do with the chord. I know I've said it a lot, but it's really important. That's what we're trying to do with the CAGED chord system. We're trying to open up the guitar. You know, it shouldn't just be that if you're playing a solo, you play here. That was, you know what I mean though. You should be able to, okay, I'm playing in E. Well, I can play here because I know my position here. I can get my 3rd position E going. And that's what we're trying to do really. Open up the guitar, and there's 3 things that you have to do. How many fingers I'm holding up? 3. I did 4 then. I really don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm going to feed myself. Yeah, that's what we need. That's what you need to do. You need to learn the scales, which I've already got up, learn the chords, which I did in this video, and as I say, I'm assuming a little prior knowledge. At some point I probably will get very short videos up on how to play those chords, but and then you can move them around using the root notes, okay? I know I've said, for the last 3 minutes I've basically just been saying the same thing, but it's that important that it's worth spending 3 or 4 minutes saying over and over again. That's what we're trying to do with the CAGED chord system. That's what it's for. What I will do going forwards is I will do the same thing with the major scale, where I will go through the 5 positions with the chords, okay, so that you get used to playing the major scale in the CAGED chord system. And then I'm going to do the same with the minor scale, and then depending on what people want, I will then look at the modes using the CAGED chord system, probably. And so basically that's what we're going to do going forwards, okay? So if you want to keep up, or if you want to keep working your way through these, you're going to have to take a little bit of time to make sure you know the 5 positions of major pentatonic, but you know the chords as well, and you know your root notes, because I'm going to do it using the root notes. I haven't decided yet. Let me know what you'd prefer, whether I change key each week or I just go through 2 examples. I learnt them all by going through G. That's what I was taught when I studied music. I went through G and then had to just transpose them, so I can do it like that as well. Let me know what you prefer. I'm going to go get some food because I'm really hungry, and my battery is about to run out on my camera as well. So 15 minutes, it's all happening at once. So I will say good luck with that. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it makes sense for you, and I hope it begins to make it easier to find your way across the guitar. And I will see you next time for more scales and stuff. See you later. Bye bye.